Hey guys, welcome back to Doodle Decks. My name's Dexter, and in today's video we're going to be drawing Lionel Messi. So all you're going to need is a piece of A4 paper, a ruler, a pencil and some colours. So that could be markers, felt tips, crayons, paints, anything you want to use. But to get started we're going to draw a grid which is going to look something like this. And the reason we use a grid is that we can split the drawing into smaller pieces, and that'll make it easy for you to follow along. If you've watched before, you'll know how to draw a grid, then you can skip to around 2 minutes into the video and that's where we'll start the drawing. And if you don't actually want to do any drawing at all you want to do is colour in the picture, then I've actually got the line art available down in the description that you can print out and colour in. But for everybody else, what we're going to do is take a blank piece of paper, grab a ruler and a pencil, and we're going to draw a grid. And make sure that when you do this you press really lightly with your pencil, because we're going to be erasing the grid later on. So grab your ruler, and what we're going to do is measure in 4 inches. So just put a mark with your pencil, and then also put a mark at 5, 6, 7 and 8 inches. Now go down to the bottom of the page and do the same. And then using the ruler just draw a straight line going through those marks that we've made. Now take your ruler and measure down from the top 1 inch, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then do the same on the other side. And then all we're going to do is join up those lines again using your ruler. Like that, and that's our grid. So that'll make it a lot easier for you to follow along and make sure that your drawing looks accurate. So when you're drawing, make sure that you use a pencil and press on quite lightly just in case you make any mistakes. For this though, I'm going to be using a marker pen just so it shows up a little bit easier on the screen so you can see exactly what we're doing. So we're going to start down at the bottom of the grid, and we're going to start by drawing Messi's beard. So to do that, we're basically going to be doing like curves upwards followed by little lines down, and that's going to give us the jagged edge to his beard. So just follow what I'm doing on screen and try and stay within the right grids. So up to that line, then we're going to keep the line going on a bit of a curve. Remember to keep doing the jagged edges for his beard. And then we're going to go up in a curve up to the next line. And then what we're going to do is replicate this on the other side. So again, you're doing little curves and then a jagged downwards, and then keep going upwards with the curves up to the next line. And then from there we're going to cross over into the next grid and then curve it round again. So that's going to finish off the bottom and the sides of his beard. So from there then we're going to continue upwards and then do a little curve to the right, and that's going to form his ear. So let's do the same on the left hand side. So that's the side of his head, and that's where his ears are going to be. So from there we're going to continue upwards and work on the top of his head and over his hair. So do another line upwards to the top of the grid. So do a line upwards and then keep going and curve it in just a little bit, working into the next squares, and a big curve round on the top. And then similar to what we did with the beard, we're going to do some jagged edges, and that's going to make his hair look a little bit more realistic. So it's like a big curve, come down for the jagged edge, and then keep the curve going, and then just keep repeating that process. And keep that going, and then all we need to do now is just join that up. So we're finishing off the side of his head. So that's the main overall shape of his face. Now come down to the bottom of the grid again, I'm going to do a big curve, and this is going to be putting in his ear. So bring it up, a little flick out, and then join it back up with the ear, with the top of the ear. So the same on the other side. So bring it round, and then a little flick out at the top, and that's just going to finish off the top of his ears. So then when we've got the face and the ears, what we're going to do now is work on the inside of his hair. So that's going to be a line straight up, curve it a little bit, and then curve it again. So up to that grid line, up again, bringing it inwards, and then what we need to do is join those two up. So I'll put a mark in the middle, and what we're going to do is try and do a big curve going through that mark. So the same on the other side. And like I said earlier, if you're making any mistakes, don't worry about it. Like I said, make sure you're using a pencil, and you can just grab an eraser and start that section again. So going back to the ears, I'm going to put in the top of the ear fold, and then do a little squiggly sort of V, and that's going to make it look like it's the inside of his ear. So the same on the other side. So a line down, and then follow the curve of the top of his ear, and then the little squiggly V again for the inside of his ear. So now then we can work on the inside of his beard. So I'll just put a dot on the page. So that's where we're going to be coming down to. So from around there, we're going to just bring it down in a curve. We're going to come down to that mark I've just made. Bring it up just a little bit, and do the same on the other side. So that's the mark we're going to be working to. Bring it down on a curve, up a little bit again. So that's going to be the inside. Now we need to do a curve over the top of his mouth. So bring it up a little bit and round. And then what we're going to do is curve it downwards to around the middle or the centre of the grid. And then bring it down, and then the same on the other side. So curving it round. Start to bring that down a little bit, and then a line downwards. And then the inside, so that's going to be a line across on a downwards angle, same on the other side, like that. And then start to bring that line down in a nice curve, like that. And then do the same on the other side. So we're going to be finishing around the centre grid line, but not exactly. We need to leave a little gap either side. And then from there we're going to go upwards, and then a few little squiggles, sort of in and out, jagged edges again. The same on the other side. And then just put a mark, and that's what we're going to draw through to curve the part of his beard. So straight line across, or a curved line across, like that. So now I'm just going to draw his lips. So just above the part we've drawn, you start doing a nice big curve on both sides, like that. And then on the top, another line going across just inside the top of his beard there. You can sort of use that as a guideline. So a nice big curve. And then what we need to do is draw the inside of his mouth. So kind of following the same lines. So just a curve again. The same on the other side. Like that. And then we just need to do top lip. And for the top lip, it's going to be a really thin section. So you can barely see it. But it's basically following the line above, and then what we're going to do is just colour in the corners of his mouth. That's going to make it look a little bit more realistic. So it's just colouring in a triangle on either side of his mouth, and then at the bottom do a line across, but make it a little bit wavy, and that's going to make it look like it's his teeth. And then just colour in the inside of that, so it looks like it's the inside of his mouth. Now we can start working on his nose. So just above his moustache and his beard, we're going to do an oval shape. on a downwards angle, and the same on the other side. And then join those up with a nice little curve. Now the side of his nose is quite sharp, so instead of doing a curved line, it's more like a little arrow sort of shape, and do that on both sides. And then what we're going to do is work on his eyebrows. So it's a big curve round, a bit of a squiggle again, and then join it up on the bottom, and the same on the other side. So it's starting on the left hand side, a big curve round, then join it up from the other side with a bit of a squiggle, and then on the underneath it's just joining up those 2 points on a bit of a curve. And now what we're going to work on are his eyelids. So underneath his eyebrow it's just a simple curve on either side like that, and then below that, that's going to give us a point to work on his eyes. So I'll just do 2 little dots, and I'm going to join those 2 up in a big curve like that, and join them up on the top side as well, like this, and then just do the same on the other side. So a big curve again, and come round to the bottom and join it up like that. And then go to the inside of his eyes to do the iris and the pupil. So it's just a curve to make it look like it's a circle like this. So for his pupils then, all we're going to do is basically a circle with a little section taken out, so that's going to look like it's got a highlight. So we're going to draw that curve again and come round to the bottom, and then just do the same on the other side, leaving a little bit of white, so like I say, it looks like it's a highlight. So that's his face done. What we're going to do now is go down to the bottom of the grid, the bottom corner, and bring in a line for his shoulders. So do the same on the other side. So bring in the line like that, and now what we need to do is a big curve under his beard, which is going to be his neck, like the top of his football shirt. So I'll put a mark where I want to draw the curve. So from the bottom of the grid up to the side, and then the same on the other side. And then what we're going to do is do the same thing again, a little bit lower. So just follow those curves round. Okay, so that's the outline completed. All you need to do now is just grab yourself an eraser and just erase out all the lines on the grid, so you're left with just the outline drawing. Okay, so everything's looking good so far. The next stage is where we're going to start adding some colour, and that's what's really going to make it look like Messi. So for this, I'm going to be using marker pens, but you can actually use anything you want. So you can use crayons, felt tips, paints. As long as you're using like the similar kind of colours to what I'm using, it should look alright. So to start with then, what we're going to do is take like a dark peachy pinky kind of colour, and we're going to colour in all the shadows on Messi's face and his ears, and then we're going to colour in the skin. So to start with then, I'm just taking a bit of a pinkish colour, and what we're going to do is colour in all the shadows on Messi's face and his ears. So to start with, we just colour in the inside of his ear a little bit. Like that. And then a little line right at the bottom of his ear. And then just do the same on the other side. And then go down to his neck, and we're just going to do a line underneath his beard, and that's just going to give us a bit of a shadow and make it look a little bit more realistic. So that's the neck and the ears. So for the face, it's going to be drawing lines up like this. So just follow what I'm doing. So a big curve, and then go round his eyebrow up to the top like that, and then it's just a case of colouring that in. So that's a shadow on one side of his face, and then all we need to do is the exact same thing on the other side, and that's going to make it his face look a little bit more rounded and realistic. So I'll colour that in again. Okay, so now we're onto his nose then. So we're going to start by doing a little curve at the bottom. So curving round at the bottom like this, and then draw a line upwards, and then curve it round into his eyebrow. You can colour in the side of his nose and follow that line round again. Okay, so that's all the shadows done on Messi's face. So what we need to do now is grab a lighter colour, so a lighter pink colour than you've just used, and we're going to colour in all the rest of his skin. Okay, like that. So now what we're going to do is grab a mid-brown colour, and we can start colouring in his eyebrows. So that's both his eyebrows coloured in, and then we can use the same colour just to colour in the inside of his iris on his eyes. And you can see straight away it's starting to look a lot more like him now. So what we're going to do next is grab a light grey colour and just colour in the inside of his eyes just a little bit, so just a small line at the top of his eyes, and that's going to just give us a little bit of depth and shadow, make it look a little bit more realistic. And then do the same with his teeth. So on his teeth it's just drawing a line on either side of his mouth, and then just a thin line across the top of his teeth, and that'll again make it look a little bit more realistic. So now what we're going to do is work on his beard. So for this we're going to use a brown orangey kind of shade. All you need to do is just colour in the entire beard, so it's super simple, this section. Then from there grab yourself a light pink colour, and we're just going to be working on colouring in his lips. Like that. And then now we can move on to his hair. So again we're going to be using a brown colour, and there's going to be highlights and shadows on this section. So what we're going to do is start by drawing the highlights. So it's going to be these little curved triangles. So it's just curving round, kind of like shark fins, and then just colouring in each one like that. So that's the highlights, and then all we're going to do is take a darker colour and colour in the rest of his hair. Okay, so that's his face completed. So what we're going to do now is come down to his shirt. So it's up to you, you can colour it whatever colours you want. I'm going to colour him in his Barcelona colours, so I'm going to take a yellow for the top of his football shirt. So I'm going to take the yellow and just colour in the top of his football shirt around the collar. And then it's on to the stripes, so I'm going to get a purple, pinky kind of colour. Colour in those stripes. And then just take a blue and colour in all the gaps in between that. Okay, so that's his shirt coloured in. It's starting to look really good. And if you want, you can leave the drawing there as completed, or what I like to do is just take a Sharpie and use the thick end of the Sharpie and just basically draw a thick line all the way around the drawing. And what that's going to do is make all the colours kind of pop out a little bit more, make everything look a little bit brighter. Okay, so there's our completed drawing of Lionel Messi. So if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel if you want lots more videos like this. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.